Hi guys, welcome to this video. Today I have something very important to discuss because the only way we learn is to make failures, get down, get knocked down, get back up, progress, and the failures really accelerate the learning process. So last week, which was the end of February, I made such a big mistake I didn't know about, which could have made my business go bankrupt in like one single week. However, it was caught in time, but it completely destroyed all my planning, and it has been my biggest failure with CPA marketing so far. And today I just want to elaborate on that. Hopefully you guys can learn something from it and not make the same mistake. However, I know now that I will never make that mistake again, and I'm happy it happened, but that week was one of the worst weeks in business for me. It was so stressful, and let me tell you why. So one of my main focuses all time is cash flow. I want the perfect cash flow. So the network I work with pays net 4, meaning after the work week is done, they pay me on the next Thursday. What I do is I calculate my cash on hand in such a way that when it's Thursday morning, I have $100 left, meaning an hour later I get paid the huge amount from last week. This way I'm able to maximize the ROI, which means that, let's say for instance I spend $1,000 every single day. The ROI is, let's say, 100%. So every day I spend 1,000, I get 2,000 back, but I don't get that until next week. Every 1,000 I keep in the bank, I lose a potential 1,000. So it is very important for me to spend everything because that's the way I get the highest ROI. However, you have to calculate it perfectly, because the biggest mistake which can happen is you have to pay bills, but you don't have the money on hand, which means either you get extra bills, which is pretty normal, or if it's a really high amount and they demand it through a contract, you go bankrupt and your business is done. It will have huge consequences for your business and maybe even for your personal life. So I have a business structure in Amsterdam, which means that I'm not personally liable for anything. So the business is liable for everything. So it wouldn't be my personal problem, but I've built this business with blood, sweat and tears. So obviously it would hurt me very much if anything would happen to it. So yeah, the problem was with the cash flow, as you can imagine. So what happened really was my target for January was $100,000, 100,000 euros. So that's about $120,000, I guess. And I didn't make it because of this huge issue. So what happened was my accountant called me the Friday before the last week of January. So that was like the 25th of January, yeah. And she told me, like, just a reminder that you have to pay your tax bill over the last quarter before the end of next week, before the next Thursday. So I had until the 31st of January to pay that tax bill. On that day, it has to be on the bank account of the Dutch tax authority. So what happens is, with the business structure I have, you pay quarterly tax. The tax, which is value-added tax, which I get from other companies. So it's not my own money. I just collect the money from invoices I charge from businesses inside Netherlands. So it was only one partner. I was working with Advidi at that time, and they pay me 21% tax. So I collect that tax, I hold it for like 3 months, and after those 3 months, I put it to the tax authority. I'd never done that before because I never worked with any networks inside the Netherlands. So what happened is I used that cash to maximize my cash flow. Basically, you're playing on borrowed land, because at one time you have to give the cash away because that cash was not yours to begin with. But in the meantime, you can still play with it. So that's a huge benefit. However, you have to take into consideration, you have to give it away at some point. I did do that. I wrote it down in my accounting software. My accountant confirmed it. This is the amount you have to give away at the end of in January. However, after that was in December, that was like 31st of December, right? At the end of the quarter. So what happened is I forgot. So I made my entire cash flow planning for like the entire month of January with my cash flow report. Like I made a video on that as well, how to do that. It's like insanely complicated in Excel and stuff just to maximize like every single dollar. And then what happened is she told me to pay like multiple 5 figures. And I was like, what? Like, did I hear that correct? It was like $4,000 or $5,000 will be okay, right? But and she's like, yeah, you know, I told you before, right? I'm like, yeah, you told me before, but I just forgot. Like something so important, I just forgot really. So what happened then is I had to put, like it took me 1 day to calculate everything, right? So the Saturday and Sunday morning, I think I spent like 10 hours on everything, like calculating every single expense, dollar, revenue, what is coming in when, ad accounts, and I have like a lot of ad accounts, right? So I came to the conclusion that on Sunday morning, I had to put all my ads, I had to turn them off until Thursday, where I would get paid from a network. I could start again, but that would already be the last day. So I had enough money to pay, fortunately, so that worked out well. However, I was not able to run ads for 4 days. In those 4 days, I had to contact like different networks, ask them if they could fasten their payout for whatever reason I gave them, just to ensure that I could keep my ads running, which obviously was not possible. So that was like a huge setback. The tax bill in the end confronted me with something that never happened before. I was running like big winners and I had to turn them all off for 4 days. Basically 4 days I had nothing to do, but at the same time I had so much to do because there was like this one big issue which I had to solve, right? I had to make sure this never happens again. So what I did was I now have like a buffer of cash. I had a buffer, but it was like only like a couple of 4 figures. So now I have like a 5-figure buffer. So if anything happens, I have like cash on hand. And I restructured my cash flow with like a little bit of more reserved cash flow. So I don't spend until I have like $100 left on Thursday. I have like $2,000 left, just to be sure that no more problems arise. And it's like a big lesson learned. So the January ended to be like, I think 65,000 euros. So about like $75,000, which is like short of the target, but it happened. And now I'm trying to make up for it in February. I don't think I will be able to hit 140K just because I have the campaigns to do that much volume. However, I don't have the cash flow. So yeah, that's a big struggle in the beginning. I think the first year, maybe 2 years, you'll be really struggling with cash flow. And that's the best problem to have. Like if your problem is cash flow, it means your business is growing faster than your financial resources can stretch it. And that's a very good issue in my opinion, the best issue to have, but it can be frustrating at times. So I'm happy it was all resolved. I did it all by myself, which I'm also happy about. However, I never want to go through that again because one party that you do not want to mess with and you don't want to pay your bills late is the tax authority. Why? Because they can ruin your business, they can ruin your personal life, they can ruin everything. So tax fraud, if you just Google it, like anything to do with tax, you just want to pay it, you just want to nod and say, thank you, sir, bye, sir, nothing else. So I'm happy I did that. And the tax laws in Netherlands are not strict. Like if I didn't pay, my accountant told me I would get a reminder and a fine. And then after that, another reminder and a fine. But the fines are quite heavy. So I just don't want to mess with that. I just want to do everything according to the rules. I want to build a real business. I don't want to mess around. That's what I'm doing. And I'm happy that I learned it this way and I'll never make the mistake again. So I hope you guys learned a thing or two about my mistake so you won't have to make it. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and I'll see you guys in the next video.